Welcome you all to the course on Introduction to NGO Management. I am Dr. Manjri Agarwal from School of Management Studies and Commerce, Uttarakhand Open University, and in this session, we will be discussing criteria for determining strengths and weaknesses. In the previous session, you learned that the term SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the organization. That means these exist within an organization, whereas opportunities and threats are external to the organization, and therefore these exist in the environment. The purpose is to understand the present state of an organization. It will help in providing a holistic view of an NGO. A SWOT analysis is a very useful tool for NGOs, especially in the present scenario. Strength is a potential that can be used by an organization to gain institutional or strategic advantage. On the other hand, weakness is an intrinsic limitation or restriction that creates a strategic disadvantage for an organization. You have to identify those areas where you have uniqueness or core competencies, or say distinctive competencies, that will distinguish your NGO from other NGOs of a similar kind. SWOT analysis also helps in establishing, defines, and even prioritize key performance areas or indicators of an organization vis-a-vis environmental changes. So, organizational strength refers to competitive advantages or institutional or strategic advantages and other distinct competencies which an organization can exert in their market or even in their operational areas. Organization's weakness refers to constraints or obstacles which check movement in a certain desired direction and may also inhibit organization in gaining a distinctive competitive advantage. Another variant or a form of SWOT is TOWS, in which an organization's external opportunities and threats are identified and then matched with the strengths and weaknesses of an organization, and this will result in strategic alternatives. This external environment is emphasized by TOWS, that is TOWS, while the internal environment is emphasized by SWOT. This analysis serves as a foundation or basis for the development of TOWS strategies and the creation of actionable tactics. So now in this session, we will discuss criteria for determining strengths and weaknesses. We will also have a look at various criteria. There are only 4 types of criteria to classify an element into strength or weakness, and these are historical, normative, competition parity, and critical factors for success. Before undertaking SWOT analysis, an organization should have criteria that would determine that particular element under examination as a strength or as a weakness. This means that the parameter shall be a kind of lens through which the various internal factors that are relevant to an organization can be identified as a strength or weakness. So it is an issue which primarily associated with one state of mind or perspective, or you can say viewpoint. It is simply a matter of entrepreneurial interpretation of person who is analyzing, but it is more about being rational in thinking and understanding. Judgment in this sense is an implicit element in the analysis. However, this judgment is also a function of the criteria that are used. In this context, taking judgment is an implicit element for undertaking SWOT analysis, and accordingly, sound judgment in this context depends upon the apt criteria used in conjunction with relevant knowledge and experience. The 4 types of criteria are taken into consideration while classifying an element into strength or weakness. These are historical, normative, competition parity, and critical factors for success. In some criteria, quantitative analysis for identification of strengths and weakness is adopted for performance evaluation, whereas in some criteria, qualitative analysis is used. For example, liquidity ratio or net asset composition, number of clients served, program attendance are better analyzed with numbers, or they are judged fairly in a numeric expression. Whereas qualitative analysis could be suitably used to assess organizational culture, employees, morale, changes in knowledge, skill, abilities, and behavior, and the likes. Coming to the first, the historical criterion. It is understanding an organization's history, and it is important for predicting its future. In historical criterion, you will compare the past performances of an organization, generally in quantitative terms. This means you will compare the characteristics under examination with the past performances. So, in this criterion, an organization conducts an analysis of its own organization over a period of time. Say it may study its performance over 5 years or 3 years or so. Through historical analysis, you will be able to identify where your organization has performed outstandingly and where your organization has not performed up to the expectations. We try to compare our past performance in terms of numbers in various areas over the several years, or even for the same period in the past year. Therefore, sales, profit after tax, capacity utilization, etc. may be compared with those of the past. An improvement over the past performance may be seen as a strength, and a decline may be assessed as a weakness. As per Azhar Kazmi, durable strengths and nagging weaknesses will certainly cause good or bad performance. The strength of the organization, therefore, be those areas that are continuously demonstrating good performance. Further, the areas that are depicting continuously improvement, they may also be considered as strengths. However, there are certainly other factors or issues or concerns that need to be identified while analyzing documents of an NGO from a historical perspective. So while conducting historical analysis, one should not confine just to identify areas where the entity is not performing good performance, is not showing good performance. Rather, NGO should also examine the reasons for such declining performance so that NGO may take corrective actions for overcoming such weaknesses. Secondly, improvements for short-term period sometimes could be misleading or ambiguous. So historical analysis can be conducted from three perspectives: financial perspective, operational perspective, and managerial perspective. The past financial performance of an NGO can be analyzed from financial statements. That includes the balance sheet, the profit and loss statements, then annual reports, survey reports, and the likes. The comparative study can be carried through common-sized financial statements, calculating financial ratios, budgets, and other NGO-specific matrices. From the financial perspective, historical analysis can be conducted with regard to net asset composition, operating surplus or deficit, income and expenditure statement, capital budgeting, working capital management, or say average contribution per donor, diversity of funding sources, cost per program conducted, and also on other NGOs' financials. From operational point of view, you can carry historical analysis on various operational dimensions, say number of beneficiaries served, donor satisfaction rate, number of programs conducted, community engagement, community event attendance rates, or outcomes of the programs conducted, both in terms of financial as well as non-financial, and the likes. So from the managerial point of view, you can carry historical analysis on the basis of various managerial functions performed in an organization. Say utilization of resources, objectives achieved, employee or volunteer satisfaction, engagement scores, marketing performances, staffing, training of employees or volunteers management, effectivity in the communication within the organization and outside. These are some of the areas where past performance can be compared. So let us just take an example of XYZ NGO for understanding this criterion. As you can see that on program expense ratio and average donor retention rate, these two are continuously increasing since 2015. Whereas number of project reviews conducted in a quarter by this NGO is declining. The program expense ratio is increasing since 2015. This means that this NGO is putting many resources into its program. Further, it is also assumed that it is investing in its infrastructure or in other expenses for sustaining itself in the future. That is for growth of the entity. Since there is continuous improvement in this ratio, therefore you may consider this factor as their strength. One may say that the remaining amount they are spending for their growth, for the betterment, for the sustaining themselves in the future. The average donor retention rate is also showing continuous improvement. This means that you are able to retain the donors who funded in the previous year. A good retention rate of donors would be unique to its sustainability, for its growth rate. This will also contribute to build sustainability of this NGO and also in achieving goals and objectives. So, you may consider this factor as their strength. However, quarterly project reviews are not conducted appropriately or regularly by this NGO. Therefore, key staff maybe they will be unable to review their progress and take up corrective measures. But it is very important for the improvement of the overall projects that are being undertaken by the NGO. Hence, you may consider this factor as their weakness. However, it is often prudent to verify the replicability of the past in future before arriving at certain conclusion. It is also to notice that in certain situations, past may not be valid for future, and this would invalidate or nullify assessment or judgments based on such interpretations. In historical analysis, you evaluate only past performances and try to identify your strengths and weaknesses, but in many cases, it would not be a comprehensive analysis. Therefore, for other factors, let us take the next criterion, the normative criterion. Here, the basis of judgment is what ought to be at the level of the performance to classify a particular element into a strength or a weakness. In the case for for-profit organizations, the industry to which that organization belongs to provides various standards for evaluating or making judgments about its strengths and weaknesses. However, in the case of NGOs, norms and criterion of other NGOs of its kind, or you can say generally accepted norms of the NGO sector, can serve as a benchmark for comparison. Further, theory, expert opinion, industry practices, or personal opinions can also be used as a criteria or norms for evaluation. Under normative criterion, strengths and weaknesses can be identified on the basis of industry or sector norms, or on the basis of benchmarking. Now, the gap between benchmarks or norms and existing state, which you can say as a performance gap, can give you an insight into your position with respect to others. So this term benchmarking, this is an approach that focuses on best practices to set the targets. These targets are then used to match or compare with the organization's performance for identifying strengths and weaknesses Through benchmarking, yardsticks for the organization can be laid after continuous measuring and comparing performance and processes in juxtaposition with performance and processes in leading organizations. So it is basically acknowledging and honoring the practices followed by the best organization or the leading NGO, and then working accordingly in the identification of strengths and weaknesses. So what we do, we first identify performance areas, then we identify norms or you can say benchmarks. Then we try to assess organization's performance on the basis of those performance areas, so identified by you. Then you try to match organization's performance with the norms or benchmarks. Now, if your performance, your organization's performance, it outperforms or is equal to norms or benchmarks, then you may consider it as a strength. However, if organization's performance or results are not equal to or are less than norms or benchmarks, then it may be considered as a weakness. So, however, norms are based on averages or aggregated figures. Therefore, sometimes it may lead to erroneous or you can say inaccurate conclusions in terms of capability, in terms of scope. Further, establishing norms accurately for each parameter is practically, that too in quantitative terms, is challenging. So now coming to the third criterion, that is the competition parity criterion. This criterion utilizes the action of successful direct competitors or potential competitors. It is based on the premise that a firm must, at the minimum, meet the actions of the competitors. An organization should meet the actions of the competitors. These strengths and weaknesses of an organization shall be pinpointed with regard to an organization's competitors. Although it is beneficial to know and compare what other rivals or other organizations are doing, as using it as a comparative measure. But it may or may not be reasonable to restrict your analysis to just this criterion only. Besides this criterion, it is always advisable to identify one's own core competence areas and dimensions of uniqueness and use other criteria to classify a particular situation either as a strength or a weakness. Particularly for NGOs, it may not be necessary that objectives or goals are the same as of other NGOs serving in the same community or NGOs of the same kind. Competitive parity refers to the strength, or you can say refers to the stand at par with the competitors, whereas in competitive advantage, an organization tries to outperform its competitors. Therefore, one needs to be very careful, as industry's practices may not be optimum or as such not generalizable for all the NGOs, as funding agencies, community served, board composition, human capital, fundraising and development, scope, area of operations, and even a strategic intent, they may vary widely from one NGO to another. Coming to the next criterion, fourth one, the critical factor for success criterion. In this, each organization is in some sense are unique, and it requires a set of minimum performance standards and hence capabilities. These are termed as critical factors or key factors of success. These are the areas that must be given spatial and continual attention by an NGO for achieving and maintaining quality performance. Now, Christine V. Bruin and John F. Rocker, they define critical success factors as they are limited number of areas in which satisfactory results will ensure successful competitive performance for the individual, department or organization. CSFs are the few key areas where things must go right for the business to flourish and for the manager's goal to be attained. Now, as per Thomas F. Whelan, J. David Hunger and Krish Rangarajan, key success factors are those variables that affect significantly the overall competitive position of all companies within any particular industry. So what are CSF? CSF are critical or crucial for an organization's success. These factors require the special attention of the managers. Hence, the performance of an organization on these critical success factors shall be used to assess an organization's strengths and weaknesses by keeping a score of strengths and weaknesses in the critical areas of performance. Hence, this criterion helps you to examine the strengths and weaknesses in the context of meeting the minimum requirement for success. So, for conducting a comprehensive analysis of an NGO, these criteria are used as per the nature of the element and its characteristics. For a complete assessment of an organization, depending on only one criterion will not serve the purpose. Rather, multiple criteria approach shall be reasonable to adopt by an NGO. Now, some elements like financial strengths may be evaluated appropriately on historical and competition criteria, and same marketing may be best evaluated on the basis of competition and critical factor for success criteria. Hence, on the basis of the nature of the element under assessment, for some you may opt for normative criterion, for some element you may opt for historical criterion, and for some say the competition parity criterion or the critical factors for success criterion. As we just now discussed that for financial strengths, it can be better evaluated on historical criterion. Marketing can be assessed on competition criterion or critical factor for success criterion. Organizational culture can be assessed on normative criterion. Normative criterion can also be used for assessing human resource commitment and their contribution. Outreach of the program can be evaluated on historical criterion or normative criterion. Even number of clusters covered, it could be assessed on historical criterion or normative criterion. Critical factors for success criterion can be used for programs and service delivery. Historical criterion or normative criterion can be used for funding, fundraising and development. These two criterion, that is historical, normative and even competition criterion, in some sense can be used for evaluating cost per unit or cost per service. Historical criterion or competition criterion can be used to assess or evaluate donors' retention rate. So these are just suggested, and it may vary also, as all the facets of organization's capabilities and weaknesses shall differ in terms of their nature, scope, frequency and impact. It is important to note that your evaluation of an NGO strength or weakness depends to a large extent on the criteria you have chosen to evaluate. Environmental factors, area served, regulations prevailing, objectivity and state of mind of assessor. So in this session, you gain an understanding of criteria for determining strengths and weaknesses. You learn that there are 4 types of criteria that are taken into consideration while classifying an element into strength or weakness. These are historical, normative, competition parity, and critical factors for success. In historical criterion, the analyst compares the characteristics under an examination with past performances. In normative criterion, the basis of judgment is what ought to be the level of performance to classify a particular element into a strength or a weakness. The competition parity criterion, well, this criterion utilizes the action of successful direct competitors or potential competitors at its basis for judgment. In case of 4 criterion, that is the critical factors for success criterion, each organization in some sense is unique. It requires a set of minimum performance standards and hence capabilities, and these are termed as critical factors or key factors of success. This criterion helps you to examine the strength and weakness in context of meeting the minimum requirement for success. Thank you for your patience hearing.